We all love a good money maker, but normally it comes at the expense of not being able to train whilst you do them. But what if you could have both? I've been testing a ton of unusual training methods to find out the most profitable ones, so you can make bank as well as getting a ton of XP at the same time, including one that is 500,000 XP per hour, I kid you not. But first, as always, is a bond hidden within the video, and the first person to find it and timestamp it with their username gets it. The first one is probably one of the most underrated runecrafting training methods in the whole game, that requires a huge runecrafting level of just 1. Most players know that you can train runecrafting making fire tiaras, but you lose a lot of money in the process to train it this way. But at the same place, or at any other elemental altar, you can also create elemental tiaras with an elemental talisman and gold tiara. Unlike fire tiaras though, these make you money instead, and it's a good amount, as well as even giving you a little bit more XP. All you need is a ring of the elements which teleports you to any basic altar and a teleport to a bank. I was using a crafting cape, but you can use anything you want. Games necklace teleport to Wintertodt, or keep a ring of dueling in your inventory to teleport to Castle Wars, just anything that takes you near to a bank. You also want to be wearing a tiara for the altar that you're using, such as a fire tiara, and all you do is you take 14 gold tiaras and 14 elemental talismans to one of the altars and use it on them. I had no problems at all buying the supplies pretty quickly, and they cost 2.57 million GP. It took 23 minutes to make 500 tiaras, and they were worth about 3.6 million GP, which works out a profit of 2.68 million GP per hour, whilst getting 51,000 runecrafting XP, which is better XP than training on blood runes and soul runes. Be a little bit cautious on this one though, because whilst the profit margins are always good, the prices of both the talisman and the tiara can be extremely volatile. Of course, once you make money, you also need to keep it safe, and what better way than with an Ekster wallet? The very first trackable wallet ever created. The super slim design is light and fits perfectly in the palm of your hand, but still has enough storage for 12 cards that can easily be accessed with their signature trigger mechanism. With your cards enclosed, the built-in RFID blocking protects you against data theft and wireless skimming. It also comes with a solar-powered tracking device that allows you to track your wallet from your phone. It can even be set up to send you alerts whenever you're separated from your wallet, and has a handy two-way ringing feature to help you find it should you misplace your wallet or your phone. It's made from environmentally friendly materials like vegan Italian leather and space-grade aluminium, and not only do they have a large selection of premium quality wallets, but I partnered with Ekster to give you an exclusive discount, and you can enjoy up to 25% off using the code Lilratbags or the link in the description. Brutal arrows are mainly used for killing chompy birds, and you probably wouldn't suspect that we use that many of them, but some of the hats that you can get from it requires thousands of kills. Mithril, Addy and Rune Brutals are all profitable, and combined we sell about 250,000 of them on the GE each day. To make them requires some flighted ogre arrows, which you can buy on the GE for around 90 GP each, and the equivalent nails for the brutal arrows that you want to make. I tested out Rune, which requires 60 Fletching, but you can do it with Mithril, which needs 34, or Adamant, which is 45. 10,000 Rune nails and flighted ogre arrows cost me 8.9 million GP. Now you only make 6 arrows at a time, unlike normal arrows, but even still this method gets you 210,000 XP per hour. You do make 10 lots of 6 at a time, so it is semi-AFK as well. All in all, 10,000 brutal arrows took me 35 minutes and 44 seconds, and were worth 9.81 million GP, which is a profit of 910k. That works out at 1.56 million GP per hour. Next up, we have a cooking money maker, which is more money than sharks, Karambands, and even Forester's rations, and only requires level 37 cooking. Mainly though because people think it's a pain to do, but it really isn't that bad at all. Gnome cocktails require a ton of items to create them, but by setting up your bank and inventory to withdraw the right amount quickly, they can be done very easily. At the moment, the Blurberry Special is the most profitable, making you almost 5k each one, but if you want something less click intense, you can also make the Fruit Blast at level 6. You don't have to add every single item to the glass, all you need to do is click on the cocktail shaker twice, the first to mix the drink and the second one to pour it out, and as long as you have the ingredients in your inventory, it will do the rest for you. For a Fruit Blast, you get all of the ingredients next to each other in the bank and use the withdraw X option to withdraw 2 at a time. Then left click on each pile of the items once apart from the whole lemons, which you click on twice. Then just click on the cocktail shaker in your inventory 4 times and you've just made 10,000 GP in just a few seconds. The only issue with this method is the diced and sliced fruit sometimes takes a while to buy, as well as the cocktail glasses, and there's a lot of different ingredients especially for the fruit blast, taking up space in your GE. It is still a good method though if you're not in a massive rush, and I made 198 because I accidentally ate 2 pieces of fruit, which would be really embarrassing if I just made a rune-like guide saying how good menu entry swapper was. That literally stops you from doing that. It took 22 minutes and 47 seconds. The ingredients cost 313,000 GP and the cocktails were worth 978,000 GP, making this method 1.77 million GP and 95,000 XP per hour. What it would have been, apart from my seeing this post by Slay Music about how the next 8 updates to be announced should all be quests instead of Leagues 4. Since Fruit Blasts are a quest item, I did what any self-respecting person would do and put them in for just under 10,000 GP each, and they all sold, technically making this 4.41 million GP per hour. Thank you, Slayer. As a bonus moneymaker, when I was doing this method, the last item to buy was the cocktail glass, so I got bored eventually and bought some myself. There's not many good places to buy these in bulk, so I figured I would test out these as a pure moneymaker on their own, just to see how they did. There's only 2 places to get these, but the fastest one is to use the Stony Basalt teleport, and the leprechaun here has a large stack of them, and then just either use your crafting cape, or if you don't have one, a ring of dueling to teleport to Castle Wars. You can buy them really quickly here, and it took just 6 minutes and 19 seconds to get 497 of these. The GE price would have made this 1.42 million GP per hour, but I tested them and they weren't even buying for 1,000 GP each, so I presume no one else was doing this method at all. I kept 200 for myself for the Fruit Blast and had a long hard think about how I would feel selling such a simple item for an extortionate amount, and a few seconds later I chucked the other 297 in the G for 1000 GP each, and they all sold overnight. At that price this method would be 4.7 million GP per hour. Back to the XP money makers and a really crazy smithing one. Dragon plate bodies are essentially used as cosmetic items these days, though they do have some stats, just purely because there's better gear out these days. The price of these is pretty stable because one piece costs 1.8 million GP from the Myths Guild, although quite often you can buy for even less on the GE. Each plate body requires 1 dragon chain body, a metal lump and a metal shard, and they can only be smithed in the Dragon Forge, which you access via the whirlpool you enter to get to the Mithril Dragons near the Barbarian Outpost. I followed the price of these for a few weeks now, and each plate body consistently gives a huge profit, as well as the Dragon Kite Shields too, which can also be made here. They do have a huge smithing requirement of level 75 for the kite shield and 90 for the plate bodies, but they also give a lot of experience for everyone created. I made 10 plate bodies in just 3 minutes, each one giving 2000 smithing XP. The tracker showed this to be over 500,000 XP per hour, but it's even higher than that because I made a mistake buying 10. Essentially because I could only do 9 per trip, so the second trip I ran all the way back just to do 1 plate body. You would normally expect to pay a lot of money for XP rates that high, but instead, each plate body cost me an average of 2.39 million GP each and sold for just under 2.5 million. That's a profit of 18 million GP per hour and one of the best XP per hour methods in the entire game. And the only downside is the requirement and again how long it can take to buy some of the items on the GE. Lastly, we have another Runecrafting moneymaker. That's far more profitable if you have the money and the levels for it. You can do this with level 77 Runecrafting, but ideally to do all of the items you're going to need level 81. To be able to do this method, you first need to purchase a Runeskull of Bloodbark, which allows you to create Bloodbark armor and is currently just 2.4 thousand GP. To create any piece of Bloodbark requires the equivalent piece of Splitbark armor and a various amount of blood runes depending on the item listed here. Next, just make sure you're on the Archaeus spellbook, have a rune pouch with lore and earth runes in it, a stamina potion and again a teleport to a bank. You can teleport to the Archaeus library, run a little bit north and then east, taking the southern of the 2 paths to the blood altar. Use each piece on the altar one at a time. You can only use the next piece on the altar once your arms are down by your sides. It feels quite slow when you're doing it, but it's still 10,000 XP per hour in a very slow skill to train. I did all of this Bloodbark in 42 minutes and 28 seconds, for a profit of about 5 million GP after tax, which works out at 7.05 million GP per hour. The greatest moneymaker of all is coming soon though, and I've just had confirmation from one of the people trading GP in Deadman mode, that they will be paying people 10 million GP for the 10,000 GP you can get in about 2 minutes from the Stronghold of Security for the first hour of Deadman. But all of that, including the friends chat that you can use to do this to, and a ton of other money makers for Deadman mode, will be out in a few videos starting this Sunday.